So you've been to precinct convention, you've been elected a delegate to the next level. Let's find out what happens at the Senate District or County Convention. In Texas, this will be held on March 20th. This is for the GOP in Texas, and that's by Senate District or by county. So be sure and contact your county chairs to find out. This will happen all day on a Saturday. And when I say all day, trust me, I mean all day. So who can participate? Anyone who was chosen at the precinct level convention is eligible to participate. And you'll find out what happens, you'll pass resolutions, and select delegates to the state convention. That's really the only business to be done. However, it takes a long time. We'll look at the basic agenda behind a Senate District or a county convention first. Initially, the temporary chair will appoint temporary officers. These are officers like a secretary, a parliamentarian, a sergeant-at-arms, anything else that's needed as well. Then, the temporary committee reports and the roll call of the precincts. The temporary committees are committees that have done work prior to or initially at the start of a convention. So temporary only means prior to or at the start. Then, the roll call of the precincts. The secretary will call the roll, and the precincts will find out exactly how many people have shown to their convention, and they will report those numbers. That will determine whether or not the body has a quorum. Again, this must be done before voting on anything like the election of permanent officers. When electing the permanent chair, you have to have first made sure that the people in the room are qualified to vote and that there are enough of them to make the decision for the body. Then the permanent chair will appoint his officers. Then the permanent chair will appoint the permanent committees. When you see the word permanent for this purpose, it means until the end of convention. Just like you had a permanent chair in the precinct convention that was only there chairing for the end of the convention, this permanent committee structure only lasts until the end of convention. The chair will also preside over the election of delegates for the state convention. This is usually done precinct by precinct, as each precinct has a certain number allotted to it of delegates for state. Therefore, the precincts are the best judge of which number of people should go. After that's done, resolutions will be passed, and the permanent committee reports. A word on permanent committees. If there are only two real items of business to be done in a convention such as this, namely passing resolutions and choosing delegates to the state convention, then there's only really two permanent committees needed: the resolutions committee and the nominations committee. That's going to be the work that's done during the convention on the day of the convention. And the reports sum it up at the end of the day. We'll now turn to the committees that are available for you to volunteer for at the Senate District or County Convention. First, arrangements. This group deals with furniture, decorations, flags, and setting up on the venue, and they arrive early on the morning of the convention. The registration group also arrives early, and they actually distribute the packets and deal with check-in and issuance of badges for the day of the convention. The Credentials Committee does its work ahead of time. They've reviewed the precinct convention records and pass on a list of elected delegates and alternates who've been reviewed to that registration committee. The Rules Committee deals with supplemental rules used at previous conventions, and they select the rules for the selection of delegates for the state convention. The Finance Committee does most of its work up front as well, as they find funds to hold the convention. The Nominations Committee oversees the procedure for selecting those nominees from the different precincts to be convention delegates or alternates to the state level. They'll also select a list of at-large delegates and alternates. The Resolutions Committee takes the resolutions that have been issued at the precinct level and prepares them to be sent to the state convention to be considered for the Texas platform. Now, we'll look at a few strategies before we leave the Senate District Convention. First, definitely send a reminder to those precinct delegates that you dealt with at the precinct convention. You want to make sure they don't forget, and you could also plan sharing rides, etc. You'll want to contact the Senate District or the county chair to volunteer for one of the committees. Again, this is a fast-track learning experience for you, should you choose to pursue it. You'll want to work on those committees and be involved. You can work on a committee that meets several times. You can work on a committee that meets on the morning of. It doesn't matter, but become involved and be a part of the leadership. You'll also want to brush up on your parliamentary procedure. We recommend Idiot's Guide to Robert's Rules, which is a fabulous explanation of the beginnings that you'll need to know for parliamentary procedure. And on HoustonTPS.org, there is also a card you can print up, a cheat sheet, if you will, on parliamentary motions. Finally, you'll want to bring supplies. This is a day-long event, so plan accordingly. Bring a book in case you don't like listening to political speeches. Also, snacks. Your meal breaks may or may not come timed well with your hunger bursts. You'll want to bring a notepad and paper, something to take notes on. If you do enjoy listening to political speeches, this is where you take note of what politicians say so you can compare it to what they say a week from now. Also, bring business cards. Vistaprint.com, for the cost of shipping, will print you 250 business cards. Make sure you've got something to trade. Finally, the state conventions for each party is shown here. June 11th and 12th at the Dallas Convention Center for the GOP. For the Democratic Convention, June 25th and 26th in Corpus Christi. By the time you've gone through the precinct convention and the Senate District or County Convention, you'll know whether or not you've become a delegate or an alternate to the state convention. Be sure and check back as we walk through the state convention process in a separate video series. We do want to thank you for all of the time that you've devoted to learning more about the convention process. We hope you found Convention 101 useful. Be sure and leave questions in the comments below or email them to info@houstontps.org. These presentations also take quite a bit of energy, time, and effort to put together, so if you feel so inclined, please drop a donation in the donation box using our button on our website. Again, that's HoustonTPS.org. We are glad to have brought this presentation to you, and we hope that you will also return and give your feedback once you've done the convention process and let us know how helpful this was to you.